Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. Today I'm going to be discussing a program that existed in Okinawa about learning at your own pace called IGE. I don't know exactly what IGE stands for, but it was one of those programs they had, and a lot of the DoD schools had open classrooms as well. And I remember going to a school in Huntsville, Alabama called Roger Chaffee Elementary, and it was a big room and had four partitions, four classes going on at the same time in second grade. Went there from March to May of 1970 in second grade. We had moved from St. Louis to Huntsville, Alabama, and I remember the class teacher trying to teach a classroom, and we're trying to concentrate, and you got other sound from other classroom going on at the same time. It's very distracting, and it's really hard to learn anything. Well, one of the programs that was talked to about in Okinawa was learning at your own pace, where they have kids, if they feel like learning more that day, they do that. If they don't feel like doing as much work, they also have that option, which kind of in long run can turn kids into being lazy. That's my opinion. Well, I found an article in a magazine from Okinawa called Okinawa Pastime, and it goes to Christmas, and there's a thing in here called Sound Off, and somebody wrote an article about the school DoD schools in Okinawa, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. The title: What is the matter with our schools? In past issues, readers have been bombarded with many sound offers decreeing the early hour at which the DoD school day begins. Of all these written opinions, no one has addressed the quality of education our children receive here on Okinawa. Personally, I don't care whether my children begin school at 900 hours or 500 hours, as long as I am assured they are offered the opportunity for a first-rate education. Let me explain that. One of the things that Okinawa, very hot. A lot of the DoD schools did not have air conditioning, so they would start the school day earlier because of the heat. School schedules are the least of my worries. However, I am outraged at the third-rate educational programs currently conducted in the DoD schools here. What do I have to complain about? Plenty. Most importantly, however, let me discuss the teachers and some of their self-defeating methods of instruction. I realize that many of the classrooms are overcrowded, and the individual attention to students must be necessarily reduced to a minimum. The teachers certainly cannot be faulted for this unfortunate situation. But is it too much to ask for a teacher to discuss a student's progress with the right set of parents during a parent-teacher conference? It may remind some readers of anecdotes about bringing home the wrong baby from the hospital, but it is far from funny when you discover your son's teacher has been mistakenly rambling on about somebody else's child for several minutes. It is a sad commentary on the teacher's ability to educate when he or she cannot even match up the names of the students to their respective parents. I have provided this bona fide example of a parent-teacher conference to illustrate what I feel is a serious lack of even minimal competency on the part of some teachers here on Okinawa. The lackadaisical and indifferent attitudes of these teachers are apparent in examples similar to one I described. Excuse me. Now new systems in education are being developed every year, some of which have great merit, while others frankly stink. Well, the stench emitted from those in use in the DoD schools on Okinawa is overpowering. The open classroom is a system presently utilized in which several classes with varying grades represented function as one large class. Students work a series of lessons by themselves, each at his or her own rate. This sounds great in theory, but in actual practice it is an educational disaster, akin to the great San Francisco earthquake and its damaging results. Pooling classes only further minimizes the attention given to individual students. Should a student not feel like working, he or she just works at a slower pace. In other words, there is no one to force the student to work at their lessons. Now, maybe force is a poor choice of words, but any fool will agree that it is only human nature to put off work, and it is often necessary to poke people in the posterior to keep them from procrastinating or just being plain lazy. All I'm saying is that we need some more old-fashioned pokers than passive babysitters in our classroom. How would you feel if your daughter, who is a senior and requires another year of math to graduate, is simply told at the time of registration, I'm sorry, but all the math classes are filled. Maybe you'd like to take guitar instead. To me, that would be intolerable, but the fact that it has happened to many students, but the fact is, it has happened to many students. It is sinfully wrong, but it continues to happen. I hope I have not created the wrong impression about my feelings. I am sure the great majority of the teachers are hard-working, dedicated individuals who do their best with the facilities and resources at hand. The problems that exist are due, for the most part, to a lack of funds and therefore teachers to support the student population in Okinawa. It would certainly be a tremendous boon to both the teachers and students if someone would seriously look into the program which dictates the resources available to the DoD schools in Okinawa and see what can be done to solve some of the problems I mentioned. Of course, that is only an educated guess. And the man put his name and, in parentheses, name used by request. I'm not going to give the person's name, but very, very interesting. And I do remember that Learn at Your Own Pace program, and I don't know if the program even exists anymore. When I came back to the United States, it didn't. So I think it was an educational disaster too. And that's basically all I have to say on that. What I was able to find out on that particular way of teaching, way of students learning at their own pace. Like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.